Brother Kevin here, and we have a lot to cover today. President Joe Biden, Jeff Bezos. Can these individuals be trusted? Less about Jeff Bezos being trusted, but let's focus just a little bit more on Mr. Joe Biden. And I know I've read so many comments about you guys being a little bit pissed off about how much of our taxpayer and stimulus check money is being sent overseas to the Ukraine and funding their shenanigans and defense wars. I understand that. But what we're also seeing is that we're seeing a significant increase in the amount of layoffs that are going on, taking place across the country, namely from some of the larger companies that are on the stock market, S&P 500, such as Amazon, for example. And wow, I'm sorry. I'm realizing that we're sideways on this live. This is not going to work. We're having technical difficulties here.
Hello to the members.
Hello to the members. I want to say hello to, I'm sorry, I cannot pronounce your name, ISTEB Gra, member for 5 months. Ron, I really appreciate your candor, your passion, and your integrity. Thank you for keeping us all well informed. God bless you and your family. I really appreciate that. I really do.
Hope everybody's getting ready for a good Thanksgiving.
Are you guys preparing for Thanksgiving? Trying to read through your comments now. I see Dwayne Taylor in here, Terrence Harvey. Appreciate you guys joining on short notice. We have Diddley. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Just go ahead and drop a quick hello in the chat. I want to make sure that I can be heard. We're using these wireless mics. A lot of people were kind of clowning me before for the furry. People thought I was talking into the butt of a squirrel. So no.
Squirrel butt.
No squirrel butt here.
Yeah, I don't know why this didn't
auto rotate. You want me to release that? Okay. Sorry, we're working on it here.
Just rotate the device. What you telling me to do? Are we in it?
Okay.
Are we in this, Joker?
Yes, we are in it. It's rather narrow, so I'm not sure if you're going to be able to be in it as well with me. Okay. Yeah, you'll have to sit kind of close to me.
Make it work.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, wow. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you for everyone joining. If you guys are in here, drop a like for the video. Let's see if we can get this.
Sorry about that. We got some things we need to discuss. We got a lot going on. I don't want to take over.
Oh, no,
Sorry.
please.
Sorry, I just show up. You guys probably ain't seen me in a little while.
Comment down below if you guys remember him from many of the videos that we've done together in the past.
But there's a lot going on out there. And actually, somebody brought up something to me this morning that HP is on the list of folks that are companies that are now announcing layoffs, which I thought that was interesting because HP. But regardless, things are happening, moving and shaking. Seemingly seems like a lot of negatives and not so many positives being pushed out there with the headlines and the media and the news and, paying attention to Congress and what's going on. And then, midterm elections and Republicans taking over the House. I think we're still waiting on this runoff election with Warnock and whoever he's against. I can't remember.
Man, I forgot who is he competing against? Warnock and Herschel Walker.
That's right. Yeah, Herschel.
Mm-hmm.
How could I forget? Because Herschel Walker keeps texting me, sending me selfies with him and Vince Dooley. But we need to talk about things that actually really matter most. And we got a list here. We talked about layoffs. Amazon. We see Jeff Bezos on the thumbnail. Mm-hmm. Announced 10,000 workers are getting canned, getting the axe at Amazon, mm-hmm. and the Alexa division and the Echo division and the Amazon Prime division, they're in the whole $3 billion.
How are they losing money? I feel like everyone and their brother has Alexa. They're ordering products on Amazon. Many people have these subscription.
Well, I guess that's the thing. It's like just because a business functions, just because you see people, just because they appear to be a certain way, it doesn't mean that they're actually profitable.
Okay, fair.
And so Amazon as a whole is probably profitable. However, certain divisions are proving to be less profitable or potentially taking on losses, which is a normal occurrence in business because businesses typically have loss leaders.
Right? Right? I mean, like, for example, I can't tell you how many times I've gone into Home Depot, and I don't know if you guys ever purchase like mulch for your house, but the mulch is usually like $4 for like a 10-pound, 40-pound bag or something ridiculous like that. And it's like, how do you make any money selling something like that, right? And so I think it's kind of like they lose money on certain products just to get you in the door, and hopefully you buy other things.
No, yeah, absolutely. Now, I don't know if Amazon intentionally did that with Alexa or if it just happened to be the case, but we're seeing it happen a lot now with businesses and the impacts of post-pandemic recovery of the pandemic itself,
Right.
supply chain issues and global inflation, and the Fed interest rate adjustments, consumer confidence, spending, purchasing power, buyer ability. We know that, at least I feel like I know that a lot of folks are wondering, where is the relief?
Oh yeah. Where is the relief? We haven't seen any relief or any significant signs out of Congress from Biden himself specifically identifying relief for American people. It seems like there's so much focus on overseas concerns, the Ukraine and whatnot, and a whole lot less concern about the American people here.
Yeah, and just a heads up, I saw something the other day, a headline about an EBT skimmer.
Oh wow, yeah.
People are losing their funds on an EBT skimmer.
Let me ask you guys: have you ever been scammed out of your SNAP or EBT benefits? Just
Yeah.
like to get some comments, see if anybody's had any boots on the ground experience with that.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. Pay attention. Makes these look like these card readers. If it looks like there's something attached to the device on top of it, it may be a little weary about what's going on there. Just want to protect your money as best possible. Now, speaking of money, a common question that I get asked, and if you guys are interested in finding my channel, you can just look up Kevin, Kevin, all caps. I don't know if you linked it, but regardless, we cover news, money, and motivation, financial education, knowledge, information, and the truth. And the truth is that there's a lot of questions right now floating around about, and I want to provide some clarity on this, about owning versus renting. Real estate, homes. Now, we can talk about owning versus renting in a lot of different scenarios, but let's talk about housing.
Now, shout out to my community members here, to the family. I consider you guys family. And a lot of you guys have complained about how many letters you've been getting from your landlords indicating how much more your rent is about to cost you. So as Americans are already, struggling to get by, they're fearful on whether or not the student loan forgiveness is actually going to go through, and if it doesn't go through, how much more they're going to have to pay every single month added to their budget. Some people are paying an extra $2, $3, $4, $800 a month just in student loans. So hopefully it does get forgiven for those who need the help. But it's like, then you're getting landlord letters warning you that your rent's about to go up.
Yeah, the whole student loan thing, I think, was a little bit of a lip service to get some votes. Now, it's before I think the Supreme Court, as far as can this legally be done. Ultimately, I have very little faith. I have very little confidence in this student loan forgiveness for anybody who's looking for that reprieve. Now, with that being said, not only are the landlords alerting tenants and warning renters, you got the utility companies out there too, letting folks know that, hey, this winter, your costs are about to go up. Heating, electrical, different fuels, the service charges, they're going up, okay? Now, this all plays a part in owning versus renting. These are all factors against your income and your budget and your expense that will determine, perhaps maybe dictate the next step in your plan. With interest rates going up, housing pricing theoretically coming down in some markets fast,
Right.
as the Fed is pushing towards creating this affordable housing idea, which is actually anything but affordable when you actually look at the big picture, which right now the banks are being positioned to capitalize on the transfer of wealth as they jack these interest rates up. But I do think we need to understand the basic principles behind owning versus renting when it comes to real estate. Some look at owning as purely negative. The seemingly never-ending cost of a mortgage you can never pay off, property taxes you're never free from, while others and then they consider the home itself a liability versus an asset, while others will look at renting the same way as money being thrown away month after month after month with nothing to show for it.
Let's get a quick consensus from the audience now. We got, a couple hundred people on here right now on the live. What do you guys think about renting versus owning? Do you think it's a better idea to rent real estate, or is it a better idea to own real estate? I'd just like to get a take from you guys. But yeah, I mean, in both cases, I feel like in both cases, you're never ever going to not have recurring expenses. So, if you're renting on the one hand, you're never just, your landlord's never just going to say, hey, you've been renting for 5 years, 10, 15 years. We'll stop charging you rent, right? They're never going to say that. So if you're renting, you will always pay. The flip side to it is if you own real estate, you could eventually pay off your mortgage. You could be mortgage free. You could be debt free. But at the same time, there are certain expenses that will never, ever stop. So even if your mortgage is fully paid off, and there are ways to accelerate the rate that you can pay off your mortgage. A lot of people, sign up for 30-year mortgages and they never pay off their houses and they remain trapped. But there are strategies that can be executed and implemented to pay your mortgage off way faster. I know people have paid off their mortgages in like 5 years. So if you guys are interested in that information, definitely hit me up in the comments below.
There's so many different variables that come into play, but I will say, number one, if you are an owner and or considering owning or know anyone who else is owning their property, check the link in the description. Get your free quote for a home warranty.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got the home warranty because I'll be honest with you. My mom told me about it, and my mom had it for like 15 years. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm not trying to buy no warranty for the house. And then she explained it to me and I was like, oh, wait, let me look into this. And I did. And we got it. And that's why I'm sharing it with you guys, because it's one of the best decisions that I've made in the last 2 years.
Now, as far as the owning versus renting and the ownership portion and paying off the mortgage, in my opinion, if I had a mortgage that, I secured in 2020, early 2021, and my interest rate was like 3%, maybe 3.5% or less, I would be in no hurry to pay it off.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like, I mean, our old house was, it was like 4%. And then, interest rates started going down. And when the pandemic hit, and actually we were having a conversation about, hey, what's about to happen? We were worried about the whole economy, the whole shutdown. What's going to happen next? How bad is this thing really? And what are we going to do to prepare? And at that point, I just said, hey, let's refinance, pull cash out at this low interest rate and leave a nice pile of cash setting aside with no real purpose for it. I shoved it into the highest yield savings account that I could find, savings bank account that I could find. I just said, I'm going to go ahead and park this cash here, create a big, solid emergency fund for the family, and then figure out the next step.
So Scott Horner, he has a chat here, a comment. They need to pass this stimulus check. And, I'm sure a lot of you folks have subscribed and been watching this channel with Ron since the first introduction of stimulus checks years ago. And, continuous updates and, diligent work to extract the information and track what's being discussed and proposed. But with that being said, what you just described to me seems like a form of stimulus. You were able to extract this money out of this home, this asset that you weren't quite sure what you were going to use it for, but you saw the opportunity and you capitalized on it at an extremely low interest rate for who knows what.
Oh, yeah. And the really interesting part of this type of stimulus was that when I refinanced the house, I was able to pull out a substantial amount while at the same time lowering my monthly payment. So I feel like they paid me. They really did. They paid me to take money out, and that was one of the benefits of owning. Now you wouldn't even have that option if you're renting. So it's kind of like, I'm not saying like you should use your house as an ATM, but there's intelligent ways to strategically pull cash out, and sometimes you want to pull cash out or have some cash set aside rather for the just in case. Even if you don't have a clear purpose identified, just know that it's there. Kind of like your fire extinguisher in your house if you have one, or your alarm system. Like, you don't expect something bad to happen, but you're glad to know that in the event of something bad happening, you have what you need to handle it.
Yeah, absolutely. Better to be prepared. It's better to need it and not have it than have it and not need it. Now, credit cards. Credit cards are another huge concern because they're a huge concern for so many different reasons, because people are seeing an impact to their income. They're seeing an impact to their buying and purchasing ability with higher interest rates, with the Fed continuously jacking up interest rates. And is Biden going to do anything to stop this? Can Biden actually have an influence and a positive impact on the economy and inflation? Who knows? We'll see. Time will tell. But folks are looking to credit cards as a means of support and a safety net. And the higher interest rates, they're not necessarily good for folks looking to leverage credit cards in a way of a safety net and using them to cover necessities and basic expenses. But credit cards can actually be good.
They can be very good. In fact, I use an American Express card as my primary spending card every single day. I don't pay any interest, but I get all the payment protections that American Express credit card offers, all sorts of cash back, free vacation. Basically, I've got enough points to take a couple of vacations right now. There's a lot of benefits, lots of payment protections available, free insurance on your purchases, extending warranties on your product purchases and whatnot. So you'd be surprised. Now, that's using a credit card responsibly. Now, the flip side to it is, a lot of people have hit me up saying, hey, how do I get my first credit card? How do I get a higher limit on my existing credit cards? How do I get lower interest rates on my credit cards? Because the credit cards are basically just kind of, screwing people right now with some of the interest rates that people are being charged. I'm seeing 15, 20, 30% interest rates on some of these credit cards. And, folks are struggling to get out of that debt. Number one, how many of you are debt free right now? Or more importantly, how many of you want to become debt free?
I think a lot of people look at credit cards as dangerous, and without the knowledge and education on how to use them effectively and build up that being a responsible credit card account holder or user, then yeah, I can see that fear. But credit cards can be a great way to protect your cash in the bank, earn rewards points, take advantage of some promotional rates and incentives, added protections, like you said, and build up your credit for instances of trying to go buy that house.
Oh yeah. I can't tell you guys how many times I've used credit cards. I've used them rather than them using me. I've used the credit cards to get cash from them. Are you guys aware of, credit cards offering these introductory credit card bonuses and these different offers? Well, every year, credit card companies, American Express, Visa, MasterCard, and all of these different ancillary banks, many of these banks, they have these credit cards and they're begging for people to sign up for them. Why? Because they want to make money on you. Well, if you don't know what you're doing, the banks will make money from you. But if you know what you're doing, you'll make money from the banks. And so I've probably been paid tens of thousands of dollars from the credit card companies over the years from these different banks mainly just taking full advantage of these credit card offers that they're throwing out. They're literally, whether they're mailing these offers to me, or I'm looking for these offers, I'm going on Google. I have certain secret credit card websites that I know about, and I'll go there and I'm like, oh, hey, I want to take a vacation. How do I get this vacation for free? Oh, great. Here's a credit card that's going to give me $3,000 just for making a certain number of purchases within a certain period of time, or maybe $1,000. The offers are not as good recently, but still, I'll take $1,000 for free just to make purchases I'm already going to make anyway. So, most people, they probably spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on monthly expenses. I mean, I don't know what you guys' monthly expenses are, but drop your monthly expense in the comments down below, because if you are spending a certain amount, you could easily qualify for some of these cards that are going to pay you just to use it. So
every month I get a notification that says, oh, you're earning 20 times more points with American Express, and it's just because I always use it.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm not saying go out and wastefully spend. That is far from what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're going to pay your cell phone bill, you're going to pay your utility bill, your gas bill, your electricity bill. Some people call it the light bill. Some people call it the heat bill. I've actually seen
the heat company.
Got to pay the heat company, right? You're paying for a number of different expenses each and every single month. I mean, you're spending this money anyway. If you just use your credit card, assuming that they're not charging you a fee for using it, and a lot of these companies don't charge a fee. Why? Because a lot of these companies are struggling themselves just to get people to pay them on time. So if they're like, if you're willing to just swipe your card to pay this bill you're going to pay every month, they don't have to worry about you paying on time. And on top of that, for you, if you have multiple bills being paid through your credit card, you'll never be late because they will always charge you on time. And now you only have one bill to pay versus 3 or 4 or 5 or however many different bills that you assign to be billed to your credit card.
Well, the credit card companies want to make sure that they're getting their transaction fees through the merchants. And with a credit economy in a downward economy, people are probably going to be looking at, let me pull back from spending my credit cards, and the credit card company's like, no, please use them.
Exactly.
So it's two sides to that coin there. You got Laura Doan. I hope I'm saying this right. Welcome to a loving sponsor of Ron.
Laura Doan, welcome. I see you there. How are you doing?
Now, also, we got Carolyn Hoffman on here. I would love to become debt free. Well, I'd love for you to become debt free too. Let's just see. Agricon says, yep, use credit card for points and pay regularly. I like it.
Smart man.
And let's see here. Now, Sharon Kane says that we desperately need federally funded stimulus. How long do we have to continue to wait for this help? Not all states are giving them, but last year's holidays were bad enough, OMG. So I've got a question for this comment, which is, are you suggesting that we move towards a reoccurring universal basic income? I'm just kind of curious of what you mean by we desperately need federally funded stimulus.
Yeah, I'd love to see the response on that one.
And do you only need it for the holidays or what? Right. And
Sandra Davis asks, Hi Ron, we who have retired will receive our COLA in 2023. It's a statement because I don't see a question mark on that. So I'm not sure if you're saying that you will receive your Social Security COLA in 2023 or if you're asking if you will receive your COLA in 2023. So just if you could just clarify that for me, I wanted to just answer your question if you had a question.
And for those who are on government assistance, like Social Security Administration, government aid, disability, SSI, SSDI, we need to get some new information out because we've come across some recent developments that some folks may not be aware of that allows them the ability, because I know that a growing concern for folks that are on government assistance is the inability to earn additional money outside of that in fear of reduction and or loss of your benefits. And we got some breaking news on that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we just received breaking news from a very inside source who has confirmed their ability to earn essentially unlimited amount of income without being at risk of losing Social Security benefits. So we'll probably have to definitely share more information on that in a future video. But I think that this could benefit a lot of members of the community right now.
And Bernard Taylor says that I'm in debt all around, so it don't matter. Well, everybody has their own opinion, but you don't have to stay in debt. And
I used to be in debt, by the way. I used to be in a lot of debt, and we chose not to remain there. So, I just want to, number one, I just want to say hello to Carolyn Hoffman. She says, "Mr. Ron, is that your brother? You guys look alike." Yes, this is my brother. So yes, just to answer your question, I'm trying to not ignore all the questions, but so you don't have to stay in debt, and I've seen some concerning comments over the past several months. I know things are getting rough, between the high inflation environment, higher gas prices, the looming recession, whether or not the government wants to admit we're in a recession or not. Fed Chair Jerome Powell responding to this high inflationary environment that we're in by raising interest rates. But the thing is I've seen a lot of comments saying what type of negative financial situation you're in right now. And some of the emails that I'm getting, some of the comments I'm getting from you guys are a little concerning, and I'm concerned about your mental health. And I just want to let you guys know that if no one has told you today that, that someone cares about you, I care about you. And I want you to understand that your current financial situation, even if it's a bad financial situation, doesn't have to remain that. All situations can be turned around. So I just want to share that information.
I think the key is definitely knowing that you have a network and a community and a family of folks to talk to, because everybody is going to have a skill or a strong suit or actually an experience that others may not, and we can all grow and build off of that. So Deborah Nash says that, "Hi, Ron, I'm 62, and because I haven't established any credit, I'm turned down for a lot of things, and my credit score is 724. So, Deborah, there's a lot that goes into this. Your credit score isn't the only determining factor when it comes to being extended credit worthiness. So I would have to assume that with a credit score of 724, and being declined on applications, this is probably in conjunction with no established credit and or possibly your income, your debt to income ratio, and your ability to repay. But at the same time, to have a credit score of 724, then you've established credit.
Right.
So I think there's a little bit more there to that picture. And it may not just be because, you didn't have a credit card or something like that. If you got a credit score, you've established credit.
Right. Sandra Davis, she got back with me. She says, yes, I heard that Congress did pass the COLA for the people on Social Security at 8.7%. Is that true? So I just wanted to confirm that, yes, that is true. Social Security Administration or SSA.gov has actually confirmed that the Social Security and supplemental income, also known as SSI, benefits for approximately 70 million Americans will increase by 8.7% for 2023. And the 8.7% cost of living adjustment, also known as the COLA, will begin with benefits payable to more than 65 million Social Security beneficiaries in January 2023. So look forward to increased payments to more than 7 million SSI beneficiaries to begin on December the 30th of 2022. So I hope that information helps you out. But yeah, credit is huge. Credit will prevent you from getting a job. Credit will allow you to get a job. I mean, some jobs literally will hire you, but I've come in contact with so many different people who I almost got hired, but my credit wasn't good enough. My credit prevented me from getting approved or hired, and it's a sad state of affairs. And the sad thing about this is that credit, we're moving more to a credit-based society. I mean, you've already heard, I'm sure, many of you guys watch all of my videos, and I really appreciate that. If you've seen my video where I talked about how the Fed is running this program, it was like a 12-day program, and I think it's still ongoing. And basically, they're testing out this whole digital dollar. And so they're trying to eliminate cash. And one of the reasons why they're trying to eliminate cash is because they want to keep track of every dollar you spend. They want to be able to tax the American people to the end of the world. They want to be able to know if you've given your grandchild $20 for Christmas. They want to know about it. And I don't know if they're going to tax that or not, but I think that would be a little bit unfair if my grandchild, or if I gave my son $20 for his birthday and then they send him a tax bill.
GR asks, are Kevin or Ron, are they going to keep their word and send the fourth stimulus Biden promised? Well, I can't answer that with any certainty or definitive answer for you, but I can pose a question for you and ask you, did they keep their word on forgiving student loans? And if we were to really sit down and think about it, how hard would it be to cut checks to the American people? How hard would it be to aid and assist folks with more money in their checking and savings accounts? How hard would that be in comparison to spending and sending over $80 billion to Ukraine?
And look how quickly they did that, too.
Exactly. So, I can't tell you what they're going to do or what's going to happen, but I can say that based on what they have done and what they've been doing, I think it's pretty clear what they're capable of. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, we're also being told that stimulus checks are a direct derivative of or cause of rapid high inflation. So do you want another check? So the question is, do you want more inflation? I'm sorry, another check? You see what I'm doing to you? So, it's like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And they've proven that. And, the effects would probably be visible much more rapidly now than they were before.
Mm-hmm. Hey, drop a like if you guys are on the live at this point. We're 32 minutes in, and this is kind of a last minute decision to go live. Got a comment from Kimberly Morales. She says, my rent is $2,500 a month, not including water, garbage, etc. I'm trying my best to stay above water. I'm a public bus operator driver. I make good money, but single mom. So yeah. So number one, I'd love to know what part of the United States you live in, because $2,500 a month, I think, is certainly above average.
I think the national average is this rent?
Is rent.
I think the national average for rent is like under $2,000, like might have been like $1,800, $1,900, depending on what part of the country you live in. Mm-hmm. But now I kind of got a question for folks out there, because at the end of the day, mm-hmm. we're looking to see money coming in. Mm-hmm. to cover expenses, to cover holiday expenses, Christmas gifts, Thanksgiving, mm-hmm. rent, utilities, et cetera, et cetera. What about the idea and implementation and strategies of simple, easy, almost lazy side hustles that can possibly produce? Like, I just covered this on a video that I'm going to be posting on my channel later today. About lazy side hustles that can generate $10,000 a month by utilizing services from automation through gig networks like Fiverr.
Wow. If you guys miss out on that, this is like your next stimulus check right here.
That's the thing. It's like
creating your own stimulus.
Do you only want the money to come from the government, or would it be acceptable if the money just was coming?
So let's just say a $2,000 stimulus check, right? Does it make a difference if that $2,000 check came from the U.S. Treasury, or does it matter if that $2,000 check came from Fiverr, or if that $2,000 check came from Upwork? Does it matter? This is a legit question. I know some people are going to laugh at me. Well, what's the difference? But no, seriously, I want to hear from you guys, because it makes me wonder based on some of the comments that I receive. And so this is why I'm asking this, and your answers will dictate where I go going forward.
Because there's actually more information that could be brought to you on a regular basis with ways of of increasing and or supplementing your income through passive income streams, side hustles, small business opportunities, other grants, other programs available out there, arbitrage, whether it be retail and or credit card. And if the goal is to get your head above water, not live paycheck to paycheck, not be a considered low income or working class poor, then those goals can be achieved through simple and easy apps. Like there's literally apps on your phone that I've come across that will pay you just to scan your receipt after making a purchase. Man. There are apps out there that will actually pay you. How often do you go shopping? How often do you go to the grocery store? There are apps out there that will pay you to, when you're doing your shopping, to just check and see how a product line looks. For example, you've seen Shark Tank. You've seen companies get, deals with the sharks, with Mr. Wonderful and Mark Cuban. And what a lot of these folks are doing is they're trying to get their products to retail. So when they get their products to retail, that means that these products are now going to have shelf space or end cap space or advertising space in these stores. However, they want to make sure that they're represented accurately. So you have apps out there that are being funded and paid for by companies and businesses to make sure that their products are being represented properly, to make sure that they actually sell, to make sure that they make revenues and profits. But it's a simple and easy way, literally no cost to start, no skill required. And these are just a few of the opportunities that exist. And this is outside of gig work. Folks may say, I don't want to do Uber. I don't want to do Lyft. I don't want to do Grubhub. I don't want to do Postmates. I don't want to do Walmart Spark. I don't want to do any of these driving apps. Fuel prices are high. Gas prices are high. A possible diesel shortage is going to drive up the cost. So it's like, you don't want to put your vehicle in that, and then you got the wear and tear and the maintenance and the insurance. And then you got, the liabilities of being an independent contractor and with your insurance companies. And then it's like, well, if I can do these things without putting my car to use, if I can do these things while sitting at home or while I'm actually working my 9 to 5, or perhaps maybe even making money while I sleep, like there is an app that actually pays you for your unused data.
Are you going to cover this app in that video?
Separate video.
Okay.
Separate video.
So,
but in the video that's going up later today, it covers a simple and easy way to leverage Fiverr to generate an easy $10,000 a month. An easy $10,000 a month. As a median. And I think it's like, well, if even if a fourth check were to come, even if a fourth check were to show up, Biden were to approve it, then you got to think, all right, that may happen. That may happen once a year. And let's just say it was $2,000. Let's say they were crazy generous. It was $3,000. We're talking about making $10,000 a month, not $3,000 a year.
And don't let these numbers, if some of these numbers that he's throwing out, if it's $10,000 a month, don't let that number discourage you, because I know some people will not be familiar with that amount of money coming into your bank account on a monthly basis. So if that sounds like an unreasonable amount of money, don't allow that to discourage you from the legitimacy of it. So just take a look. I'm gonna actually drop a quick message in the chat right now. If you guys look in the chat right now, I'm about to put Kevin's YouTube channel link in the chat right now. So hit that link if you're interested in making more money. He's going to share a lot more content and preparation, financial preparation content on his channel.
Shout out to Scott Healy. I have 6 apps I submit receipts: Receipt Pal, Receipt Hog, Fetch Rewards, Coin Out, Merrifield, Amazon Shopper Panel. Shout out. This is just an example. This is just a small fraction of what exists out there, folks. And Sandra asks, I have a question. Why are real estate really so high?
Well, I want to answer that question, but before we answer that question, Scott Healy on the 6 apps that you mentioned, I'm going to write these down because some of these I'm not familiar with. Number one, but what is that side hustle where people get groceries for other people? They pick up groceries for others. I know there's Walmart Spark, but I know that there's other grocery getting.
Instacart.
Instacart. Okay. And wasn't there a lady in Publix one day and we were like,
Oh yeah, we saw her. She was doing like 3 orders at one time.
okay, so here's the thing. What if
We saw her at Publix, then we saw her at Target.
so right. Because we were like, yo, isn't that the same lady? It was crazy, right? So but here's the thing. So if she's smart, and I'm pretty sure she is, because a lot of these side hustlers are smart people. And when I say smart, it doesn't mean like you're a freaking astronaut smart and you're like you don't have to be like having 6 PhDs level smart. I'm just saying like you're aware of opportunities, right? And you're looking to make more money, right? If she's smart, she's probably hitting them all these different grocery stores, Target, Publix, Walmart, wherever she's shopping, right? She's bringing the most advantageous credit card with her. And, I've got my favorite sites that tell me what's the best card to use for certain types of purchases to give you the most rewards, right? So imagine she's not even spending her own money. She's swiping this card, getting reimbursed. And I don't really know how the shopping program works for these people. I'm pretty sure they're using their own cards.
Yeah, I don't think you have to fund it.
Yeah. So if you're being reimbursed for these purchases, and you're smart enough to be able to, use your own credit card, they're adding point. You're getting all these rewards, crazy cash back from these credit cards, American Express, Visa, whatever, from all these different purchases that you're making for other people. So you're increasing how much cash back that you're going to get. And if you're also double dipping using some of these apps that, what was his name? I forget. Scott. That Scott has listed, those 6 different apps. You could actually scan all those receipts as well.
Oh yeah.
So you can get paid from the side hustle, get paid from the credit card companies, get paid from the apps, and you're not doing any more work because you're doing this anyway.
How many comment please in the chat? How many folks believe that we are in a recession? How many believe that we are actually in a recession right now? How many believe that inflation is transitory? How many believe that, some of the things that are coming out of President Biden's administration about where we are today as a country, as a global economy, perhaps maybe where we're going to end up very shortly. I think 2023 is going to be a very interesting year. And, if you're closing out 2022 struggling, then I would urge and motivate folks to start 2023 with the mindset and the focus and the goals and the intentions of not struggling.
Absolutely.
Not struggling.
Absolutely. 2023. And, this is the time of year where people start to identify what do they want to be different about the next year. Resolutions are being made. So what are your resolutions for 2023? I mean, if you feel like 2023 is going to be different for you, drop your resolutions in the comments down below. Make it real,
Yeah, and also this is, we don't have to go deep into it, but if Biden, now 80 years old, were to choose to run for a consecutive term, do you think that's a good idea? I'm not asking would you vote for him. I'm just asking, do you think that's a good idea?
Is Biden, if Biden were to run again, is Biden being in office for another term good for the United States?
Do you think that you would be better off or worse off if Biden ran and was elected for 2024 presidential candidate? Just kind of curious of the state of the economy and your comfort level and your optimism or pessimism as far as the future of the economy under this administration and perhaps maybe another 4 years after this term ends.
Yeah, and while we're on that, if you don't think that Biden would be the best fit for our economy, what presidential candidate do you think will be a better fit for our economy? Do you think that,
Gavin Newsom,
yeah,
Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis?
Yeah. Any of those guys. And heck, any person that you happen to think of that you think might be a better fit for our U.S. economy going forward, even if it's not Trump, even if it's not Biden, even if it's not Gavin Newsom or Ron DeSantis, who do you think might be better for our economy? So love to hear from you guys on that one.
Yeah, and also, what are your opinions on our current fuel situation and our strategic petroleum reserves being pretty much
Depleted.
tapped dry, and the effects that that's going to have on the economy and on prices in general? The situation in Saudi Arabia with Saudi Aramco and OPEC, the potential for a price fix on oil that is, ultimately going to add to the impacts of inflation in what I feel personally we are in a recession that no one has actually admitted to, but we are in a recession.
Right.
We are in a recession. I don't see how you can have multiple blue chip companies, Fortune 500 companies, initiating thousands of layoffs, tens of thousands of layoffs, and hiring freezes, and producing losses and negatives and red on their ledgers and their balance sheets to say that we're not in a recession.
That's a tough call to make. That's a tough pill to swallow, especially if you're one of the people who received a notice that you've been laid off.
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing is because actually somebody told me, they said, well, Amazon has so many hundreds of thousands of employees, they only let 10,000 workers go. It's not a big deal. But I can tell you this right now, even if they let one worker go and it was you,
It's a big deal.
It'd be a huge deal.
Oh yeah, it's a big deal. It's always a big. It's never a big deal if you're not affected, right? And so it's kind of like, if you're a congressman or a congresswoman or a lawmaker, and you're making a couple $300,000 a year in your cushy lawmaker political position. And this is how the disconnect happens, because it's kind of like, okay, higher food prices, higher gas prices for these people. They don't even notice that,
They don't even know what the price of jet fuel is, and that's what they're using most of the time because they're just flying around the world to their different events and gatherings when they could literally just have a Zoom meeting.
Yeah, they're not looking at it. Yeah, they'll make rules for me and you. And you guys out there, they'll make rules for us that they don't have to follow.
They make rules they don't have to follow, and they create solutions to problems that don't exist yet so they can extract money out of the government and put it in their own pockets. Now, speaking of money, we have two comments here about safety of your money in the banks.
Ooh, I saw that. Was that the all caps comment?
Is our money safe? So we got Andrea, is our money safe in our banks? And we have Kim Ann, remind folks about the money in the banks. All right, so here's the thing. I like these comments because to me, these tell me that people have money in the bank. So that's a plus. I like
paying attention.
I like that. Number two, I guess, it's like, well, what do you mean is it safe? Is it safe from theft, bank robbers, criminals? Is it safe from
Hackers?
cybersecurity attacks? Is your money safe from inflation in the bank? Whatever rate of return you're getting on your account. What do you mean by is it safe?
Right. Yeah. I don't want to assume what you mean by safe. That's a broad array of, and different levels of safety that you may be referring to. So, yeah, let's hold off on attempting to respond to that. Need a little bit more information on that. So how much more money per month would you need to make to be comfortable? I think one of the best things for 2023 is for people to set goals and make them measurable goals, because I used to always hear this thing on the radio when I'm in the gym. They would always say, what gets measured gets improved. And so if you're sitting at home and you're saying to yourself, things are tough, things are tight, I don't want this to continue, this is painful, what number, how much more money do you need to make so that it's no longer painful for you? Is it an extra $500 increase per month? You need an extra $500 a month? Is it an extra $1,500 per month? How much more money per month do you need to make for you and your family to be comfortable?
And I want to touch on that. Well, one, Joan, thanks for joining us. Go run your errands. Thank you. You can pick back up where you left off later. But what gets measured gets improved. And I see this often. Now, I engage with a lot of different people in a lot of different walks of life around the country, around the world, different businesses, different careers, different markets. You name it. I've probably experienced some form of communication with that industry or whatever it may be. And I see it a lot with small business owners, the self-employed small business owners, which I have to qualify that because with the cash flow quadrant has four sections, and you have the employees, you have the self-employed, you got the business owners, and you got the investors. And just because you own a business doesn't mean you're a business owner. Just because you own a business, that means you could also be a business owner and a self-employed. You could actually be all four if you really wanted to be. You could. But for the self-employed, I see it a lot with owner operators, truck drivers, hot shot drivers out there on the road trying to get loads, dealing with the brokers, trying to cover their daily rate, trying to cover their price per mile to make the money they need to make. But I'll tell you right now, these are some of the folks that don't measure. They don't measure and they don't see improvement. And they think that because this load brought in so much money, or they think that because they made so much per mile, that they're actually making money. And usually what happens is they don't find out until about a year or so in that they see all their expenses adding up. They see all their maintenance and all their repairs adding up. They see their travel expenses, their hotels, their food, their fuel. They see the dips in the rates. They see the increases in the diesel costs, and how much more expensive trucks are to buy, which is insane, especially for hotshot drivers. 2,500, 3,500, 4,500. Dual real axle truck is going to, with a gooseneck or a fifth wheel is just it's crazy. So then what happens is they've made this money. However, then it's time to do their taxes. Then they thought they were making money. And they would look at it and say, well, every week I just made $1,000. I made $1,000 this week. I made $2,000 this week. So I'm paying myself $1,000. I'm paying myself $2,000. Well, no, not actually. You didn't. You have regulatory expenses. You have insurance. You have, you need to retain earnings in these businesses. And then what happens is then the tax time comes, it's like you didn't pay taxes. So what happens is in these situations, they're not measuring and they're not improving. They're actually declining and typically going out of business.
Man, you hit a lot of key points here. As a matter of fact, I saw a comment recently, just earlier this morning, from a trucker that was saying how much more the just diesel fuel alone. I mean, you listed a number of expenses that a lot of truckers, especially new truckers, probably aren't even aware of, that need to be added to the calculation to determine profitability. But one of these truckers earlier this morning was saying how they don't even want to take loads now because the loads that they're being paid, they're not even profitable. So they're walking away from, $2,500 loads because once they factored in all the assortment of expenses that they have, it's not even worth it. It's not even worth it. You're going to take your truck out, put your truck at risk. You take in $2,500. Yay, I just deposited a $2,500 check as a trucker, but after I've paid all expenses, I made $50.
And then you got the added complexity of the retailers pulling back. So you see the headlines and the announcements that these major companies are laying off employees. Well, the retailers are adjusting their business models. So yeah, you might have gotten a great load where you're going, but then when you end up where you got, there's no loads coming out to go somewhere else because other retailers are continuously pulling back and trying to reduce, which is something that we should all be doing. Seriously, like we should all be focusing on, adjusting our budgets and being as, as efficient as possible with every single dollar that we have, especially when we know that prices are going up across the board.
Absolutely. And, financing, you've got two sides of the equation. It's kind of like sports. You got offense and defense. And I like to look at income as being my offense. And I like to look at cost avoidance and cost reduction as defense. So, and the other thing is that generally speaking, you're able to spend more than you can earn. Most people will always find a way to outspend their earnings. So, it's very important to play defense, financial defense. So, definitely pay attention to that. I did get a comment from Kelly. She said that my problem is I'm disabled. Doctor pulled me out. I want to open eBay store, yet they will take my benefits. I cannot work a job. I'm numb from the waist down. Okay. So being that you're disabled and you're worried about losing your benefits, I'm assuming you might be on SSDI, perhaps. I'd love to get a little bit more information on that. I wonder how unique that situation is. I wonder how many audience members are in that same situation where you're disabled, you want to make more money, you have the desire to make more money, but you're worried about losing what you have to get.
Yeah, if you're actually on SSDI, then we need to talk about that, because that was some of the information that we had received just the other day, is that SSDI has some certain perks to the program, especially depending on your age, that will put you in a different bracket that may help with maintaining the benefits while also having the ability to bring in additional supplemental income outside of that, so you don't have to struggle.
Right. So, man, lots of good comments today, guys. When Biden opened the borders and stopped sending stimulus and helping other countries, and not all of his people, we are suffering. I have 60% of my heart from a heart attack and stroke. Yes, Cheryl, I appreciate your comment. Lots of people are in this unfortunate predicament, and unfortunately the pandemic kind of exacerbated the struggle and the financial difficulties that many Americans were in, especially if you're working in the type of job that you couldn't work remotely, and you work for a business that they shut down. They couldn't be open, or people were too afraid to even go to the stores. So it was kind of like, well, why even be open if customers aren't willing to come in and risk their lives? But
David Guerin, he has a comment here, and my response to his comment is a similar response to one of the earlier comments about, is your money safe in the bank? And I would feel very uneasy with my money in the bank, as well as having my money in the bank under an account that wasn't mine.
Oh, yeah. I did see a comment in here. I'm trying to find the person's name, but here it is. So Sandra Davis says, is the money better in credit unions and or bank accounts? So I'll try to answer this one.
It depends on what do you mean by better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because better is a very broad term. So it's like, it depends on what you're trying to what is better. Like, is one account paying more interest? Is one account having higher degree of accessibility, meaning like, there's more ATMs available? Does one have better hours? Maybe you like to walk into the bank branches. Does one give you more of a boost to your credit score for having an account at one facility versus the other?
Locations, branches, app experience, online platform, like what's better?
Right.
What's better? Mm-hmm. I don't want to be vague, but I don't want to also answer the question incorrectly.
Yeah, because my definition of better could be completely different from someone else's, and it's like, well, that's not what I meant, and I'm like, oh, okay, my bad.
and David, no need to apologize, but I can say from experience that you say someone close in your family you can trust. There are a lot of folks out there that they can't say that.
Yeah,
they can't say that.
Yeah,
and some that might, only until they realize that they can't trust that family member once money is involved. They didn't know that before the fact. So, David, no need to apologize, but it's a dangerous proposition.
Was that a comment from David Guerin?
Yeah.
Oh, so David also said, "Hi, Ron. I'm at work detailing. Dealership is booming in Greenville, Ohio." What have we heard about the used car market? I mean, like I feel like you're an anomaly, because a lot of the dealers, they're kind of struggling right around now in terms of inventory, higher interest rates for for financing these inflated vehicle prices and whatnot.
He said detailing is booming.
Yeah, he said, "Hi, Ron, I'm at work detailing. The dealership is booming in Greenville, Ohio." Yeah, so he's detailing at work. I appreciate you letting us hang out with you while you're at work. And
I would have to assume that this is just a little bit of a pre-Thanksgiving rush. Folks think that they're going to get a deal before the holidays. They think they're going to get a deal before the end of the month. They think that these salespeople are going to be super motivated to close them. I would be interested to see how booming the dealership is December 1st.
Agricon, says that my dealership constantly sends emails asking for my car. Yeah, right. Laugh out loud. I'm constantly getting a message every now and then from different dealers saying, hey, we see you have this type of car, and making kind of a broad offer.
So I'm gonna share a crazy experience with you all. And I visited, there's a dealership here. It's called Beaver Toyota, and it's just funny. I don't know why we laugh every time we hear Beaver Toyota. And so I visited this Beaver probably about a year and a half ago. I visited Beaver, and maybe 2 years ago, and that was it. I test drove a Mercedes CLS, I believe. I think it was a CLS 550. And I think I also test drove maybe a Lexus RX 350, maybe. I think that's what I test drove about 2 years ago. 2 days ago, we were with some friends here in Atlanta, and I had mentioned to them Beaver Toyota. We were talking about the economy. We were talking about car sales, real estate, everything. But I just happened to mention Beaver Toyota and how nice their facility was. Like this dealership is really nice. Like, doesn't make any sense how nice this dealership is. Oddly enough, they're hungry. They're thirsty. They need to turn the vehicles. They need to be making sales. They have to be closing deals. They got to turn a profit. They're upside down, not necessarily Beaver, but the car market is in shambles, in my opinion. But we can talk about that in another video. Ironically, the very next day after saying Beaver Toyota, after 2 years, I get a phone call, and my phone's automatic caller ID says Beaver Toyota is calling me.
The heck?
Spooky.
Is your phone listening to you?
Spooky, okay? But I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them for these dealerships to enact and engage in some crazy inbound marketing to try to get any and every possible customer they can get, which is sending emails and letters saying, we want your car. Like, they want your car because they want to jip you on it, and they want to sell you another one for more and hit you on the back end for the financing and the interest rates. The car dealerships historically are going to make most of their money on lowballing trades and jacking up interest rates historically. Now they've added to that by adding these additional dealer markups and these deposits, these non-refundable deposits for allocations and things like that. But historically, they were gonna give you way less for your trade. They were gonna try to hide it in the numbers and possibly not even give you money for your trade. And then once you got into the finance department, the bank was gonna offer you 3% on a brand new vehicle, maybe 2.5% on a brand new vehicle, and the dealership says, "Oh, we got you a great rate. We got you at 8%. We got you at 9%. You're great. It's like that's how they do it." But right now, I would not be surprised if they're going through any great lengths possible to get people on the lots, get people to show up for an appraisal. Maybe that's why the dealership is booming. Maybe they got a lot of people coming in assuming that they're going to get these valuations and appraisals on their trades, but they just want to rope you in. They want to lock you in for a few hours. They're going to make you feel like you've wasted your time, possibly guilt you into trading in and making a purchase because they're hungry.
Oh, yeah. These dealerships, many call them stealerships, are notorious for leveraging psychological biases against humans to literally force them into making bad decisions, bad financial decisions. And this is why a lot of people are upside down on their vehicles right now. It's awful. It's when you owe more for your car than what it's worth, you are upside down. And then, of course, high interest rates from the banks, that doesn't make it any better. Gas prices, not right now, but, it wasn't but 4 months ago, 5 months ago, we were hitting all-time highs for gas prices. Susan Kepler, she just hit me up in the chat. She says, Ron, and Susan, search on YouTube. I typed in energy expert on YouTube. It's the first video on the top. Please watch the video about opening the XL pipeline. You are a great person from helping us. I appreciate that, Susan. I'm going to check that out. I'm going to see what you're talking about with that XL pipeline video. Who knows how that's going to affect us? What are they doing with that? I know a lot of people are, saying, hey, we need to be drilling for more oil here. We need to be driving gas prices down. And and why are we importing so much fuel? Why are we depleting our strategic from our strategic petroleum reserve? what is the real plan? What is this end game? And at the same time, trying to like just shove this whole green energy campaign down our throats, forcing Americans to go green. And I'm cool with cleaner air. It's not like I want to breathe smog. And I don't want to, destroyed ozone layer. I'm not about that, right? But at the same time, if we're on the verge of not even having enough energy to sustain the current utilization levels, why would you force the American people to rush out and buy electric cars that they cannot afford and further add demands to the electrical grid that we can't sustain? It doesn't even, I don't understand that. And so, and it makes you really wonder, what is the real plan for depleting the strategic oil reserve? Why would you do that? We're nowhere near being prepared for that.
It comes down to a financial impact, and which is why I urge folks out there to try to do their best to improve their financial situations, tighten budgets, save money, make more money, invest, multiple streams of income, passive income, diversify your portfolio, save what you got, protect it, and make your money go to work for you. Have the economy work for you versus you working for the economy. We are getting notifications ourselves that we have to go because the moms are coming over. We got food to cook, and we are actually going to go and go catch a movie after this.
Yeah, that doorbell's about to ring any second.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate you guys. Make sure to check out Kevin's channel. Link in the description down below. Y'all be safe. See you on the next one.
Peace.